There once was a little girl who always got straight A's in school. She always did her homework, always turned in her assignments on time, went above and beyond, was the teacher's pet, and was always told that she had so much potential. She was always told that she would go on to do great things. Deep inside her, she had this curiosity for really creative things. She loved to write. She always wanted to act. And her dreams were really to do creative projects and to do things like become an actress and be a mom and things that were a little less academic. But she was pretty shy and pretty insecure. So it was a lot easier for her to do the homework, get the straight A's, get rewarded. It was very satisfying, and she thought, great, this is my path. Fast forward, she gets straight A's and continues her 4.0 all the way through graduate school. She becomes an adult, goes out in the world, finds a career that she really, really loves and feels very passionately towards. But even though she loves the work she's doing, she still yearns for something more. She still really wants to nourish that creative side of her that she never nourished as a child. But she feels really stuck. And as time goes on and as technology evolves, she sees people on social media going online who are much younger than her with much less education than her, and they're creating videos and they're acting and they're writing and they're doing all these creative things that look so fun and so inspiring for her. But she doesn't know where to start because, one, she never identified herself as a creative person. And two, she starts to feel overwhelmed by the technology and just trying to understand how everything works. So she gets a little lost until eventually one day she decides, this is silly. This is my life and I can do whatever I want with it. And she overcomes those blocks and starts a YouTube channel. Surprise! That little girl was me. And this is not a place for me to share my story and tell you how I got where I am today. Rather, I'm sharing that story because I hear it in so many people who had a similar journey or who simply feel blocked with whatever it is that they want to do. Maybe you want to start a YouTube channel, or maybe you want to write a book, or you want to start a business, or whatever it is, you can do it. But often we have these self-imposed limiting beliefs. I have spent so much time over the years berating myself for not pursuing the creative work that I've always wanted to pursue. So then I would go down these rabbit holes of think, okay, I'm going to do it. And I would look up all these acting classes and then I wouldn't find anything, or I'd find one for a few months and it would be great and then that would be it. Or I'd look up writing jobs online and I'd look and I'd look and I'd look, but then they need experience and I don't have the experience. So then I'd say, okay, I'm going to start a blog. And then I just wouldn't commit to it. I wouldn't stick to it because I thrived in school where I had someone holding my hand telling me what to do and giving me a gold star for doing it correctly. Jumping off into the real world and suddenly not having a structure given by someone else can be really overwhelming and really daunting. So for years, I was in this trap of feeling like I wanted to do more, but I was satisfied enough with my job that I thought, okay, it's okay. One day in the future, I'll do more. But then going through these cycles where I'd say, no, I really want to do more. And so then I'd go down the rabbit hole again, research, and then get frustrated until eventually I was like, whatever. And I started writing spoken word poetry, which really burst through me. I didn't ask to start writing it. It just happened. And I knew I had to share that. So if you look around the rest of my YouTube channel, you'll see lots of spoken word poetry. I'm so passionate about it. It brings me such joy. And I would love the opportunity and the space and the platform to dive deeper into some of the themes that come up in my poems, which is what I'm doing here today. That's really why I'm creating this video, and the goal of this is to share a little bit about myself and my story, and hopefully you enjoy it. So for the longest time, I had this block around, how do I begin? What do I do? What's the point of it all? And where it just seems so tedious, the logistics of social media and going online. Until finally I was like, you know what, just do it. I've had ideas for these sorts of videos for so long, and I have attempted to film some with a background and a tripod, putting my phone and recording it, and then I would watch it back and not really like it, and it didn't seem professional enough, until finally, just last week, I discovered that I can record videos from my MacBook, just sitting at my desk as I normally would, and start talking. Does part of me still think, oh my gosh, my background is so lame, okay, this is not high production value? Yes, absolutely. But I've realized it's not worth letting that block me anymore, because that was a big block for me, and it's a block for a lot of people, is the logistics of how do I even get started. But here's the thing, if you're overthinking and going in circles and circles and circles around it, you're never going to start. One day you just got to do it, and even if it's mediocre quality, you just got to try and try again. And I know that's cliche advice, but really just do it. The other block that came up for me, and still does come up for me, and is coming up for me right now as I share these words, is the feeling of who the heck wants to listen to me yammer on about my story and my life and my background and things that I've learned. I don't know. If you're watching this video, obviously there's something about it you enjoy, and I hope you get value from it, because my goal with sharing these videos is really to provide takeaways and mindset shifts for everyone who tunes in. But the other thing that I realized is that the internet is vast. And if you come across this video and you don't love it, you don't have to keep watching it. There are so many other things that you can do with your time. And I do realize that putting myself out here means that I do have to develop a thick skin. I have gotten a nasty comment or two on some of my poems, and it always stings a little, but I hope that people who go out of their way to say mean things will start to find something better to do with their time. But even if that happens, I have to trust that nobody really cares that much. So for example, if someone goes out of their way to write something rude, they're probably having a bad day. It's probably about them. It's no reflection on me. And if it is a reflection on me, okay, maybe I can take their feedback and learn something from it, but I don't have to let that debilitate me. But the other thing about YouTube in particular, or social media, or really putting ourselves out there in any form, is to remember that no one really cares that much. Meaning, we are all the movie stars of our own lives. We have to be self-centered to function in this world, because we are inhabiting one body and one brain, and that's how we function. That's how it works. And that doesn't mean that people don't care what we have to say. It doesn't mean I won't get haters on this video, but it means that you're probably not going to bed at night thinking about, oh, good for Trisha making a video on YouTube, or I wish Trisha would post videos on YouTube. You're thinking about yourself and your life and your own problems. And I'm sharing that to say, if there's something that you want to do, but you feel inhibited or blocked, wondering what people will think of you, or fearing what people will think of you, try to remember, they're not going to think that much about it. To be honest, we are so inundated with content that we just don't have that much time in a day, or that much bandwidth or room in our brains to overanalyze what other people are doing. And if we do, then, if someone does that, that's on them, and try not to take it personally. So that's something that I have learned, and that's inspired me to create this video. So then when we think about, okay, no one cares that much, what may be coming up for you, what's coming up for me as I say this out loud is, well then, what's the point? Why put it out there at all if nobody cares? But the reality is, no one cares that much, but it doesn't mean that it can't potentially positively impact people. So yes, I may get some negative comments, and I may get some positive comments, or I may get views from people like you who may not engage, may not like the video, may not leave a comment, may not subscribe, but who get some value from what I'm saying. And I just have to trust that by putting it out there, something good is happening in the world. And even if it doesn't, even if I put this video out and get a bajillion negative comments and 0 views or whatever, it's helping me. It's helpful for me. Everything that I'm saying are things that I need to hear and that I need to remember. So I am inspiring myself in doing this video. And, part of me still, the resistance that I'm feeling as I'm sharing this video is I keep talking about myself, and I don't really like listening to videos where people are just blah, 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 talking about themselves and their story. But I actually do. I learn a lot from other people's stories. And so that's a block I have to get over, is that it's okay to share my story. But my sincere hope, again, it's not that you learn about me, it's that you can use this as inspiration and fuel for your own journey. So today, what I really hope that you get from this by listening to what I have to share is that so many of the blocks that we feel around doing the thing that we really yearn and dream to do are self-imposed. So many of those blocks are limitations that we have the power to dissolve simply with our mindset. And I know this to be true because I have worked as a public speaking coach for the past 9 years. And so that means I get a first-hand account of people's deepest insecurities. Public speaking is the number one fear that humans have. And so I've had so much insight into the way people think and the way people process and what helps them get over those blocks. And one really, really powerful mindset shift is to remember it's not all about you. The world is not sitting there thinking, what are you doing right now? Unless you're Taylor Swift or something, then that's a lot of pressure. But a lot of these limits are self-imposed. I, over the years, have told people and encouraged people to start a YouTube channel. When they came to me with their insecurities of like, yeah, I want to do that, but I don't know if anyone would be interested. And I said, oh no, go do it. And guess what? Their YouTube channels are thriving much more than mine. They're very successful. And then I started getting frustrated, like, oh my gosh, I can tell this person to start a business and they go start a successful business. I can tell this person to start a YouTube channel and they go start a successful YouTube channel. Why can't I do it myself? But the thing is, it's not that I can't or I couldn't. It's that I didn't. And they did. It's that I wouldn't do it. And they did. So another powerful shift we can do, a hack, is to stop saying whether we can or cannot. It's whether we will or we won't. I find YouTube very complicated and I still don't understand the algorithms and the tags and all of that. I really get lost in the weeds of it all. And it is something that if I want to, I can learn. So it's not correct for me to say I can't learn it. Maybe I don't want to, maybe I won't, and maybe this will just be a mediocre channel and that's fine, but I can. And that's a limitation that I'd be placing on myself by saying that I can't. If you feel a block to doing something that you've always wanted to do, I encourage you, 1, to take action. To just do it, to say, look, it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't have to have all the details figured out. My background is super lame. I can go on YouTube and compare myself to all the YouTubers who have really cool backgrounds and better editing things and better camera equipment and all of that, better microphones. But whatever, that's just going to keep me stuck. That's an excuse. And so we're going to stop the excuses, whatever it is for you, stop the excuse and just try it out. And 2, remind yourself you're doing it for you. Yes, you're doing it for the world, and hopefully you'll impact the world in a positive way, but even if it affects no one, you'll get benefit just by doing it, just by spending your time nourishing that side of yourself that wants to do whatever it is that is in your heart's desire to do. So don't let, what's the saying? Don't let perfect be the enemy of done. Meaning don't wait for it to be perfect before you do it. Just do it. And if things come out like what I just said, or I'm like, oh, I don't know, it doesn't matter. It's okay. At least that's my 2 cents. So as I mentioned, my primary medium on this platform is in the form of spoken word poetry. And most of these videos probably won't be about myself this much or about the channel. It'll be about thoughts and insights that I come across both with my coaching clients and my poetry and my day-to-day life. But I do have a few poems on the subject that I'm speaking on now that I encourage you to listen to if this information resonates with you. The first is the very first poem that I ever posted, which is called Unleashing the Artist Within. It'll be linked in the description. And the other one is this poem called So Much Potential with Nowhere to Go. I don't really have a title for it. I call it Potential, but basically it's so much potential with nowhere to go. This feeling that I had for so long that I had potential. I could do so many things, but I just wasn't. And I felt like, oh, there's nowhere for me to use this, which is not true at all. There are a bajillion places that I can use my potential. There are a bajillion places that you can use your potential, but we just have to do it. It's not a matter of not having the opportunity. It's about creating the opportunity. At least in this world in which we live today, we really don't have any excuse. And I used to get bogged down by the overwhelming number of possibilities, thinking, oh my gosh, well, I could write a course, I could start a YouTube channel, I could do this, I could do that, I could write a book, and da 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 da. And it would get overwhelming to the point that I would have so many ideas that I didn't do any of them. And so it's easy to get stuck in that trap, but I think the remedy is to just pick one and go for it and trust that there's time to do it all, and we don't necessarily need to do it all. So do one thing that makes you feel good today. So I encourage you to check out those poems. There are probably more on similar things, similar themes. And if you do enjoy this content, I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel. That apparently is a big thing for YouTube, and I will be sharing more like this as well as poetry. And I also am going to be starting a newsletter. So if you're interested in subscribing to the newsletter where I'll announce new videos as well as share blog posts and ideas, then you can do that on my website, powerfulandpoised.com, or you can find the link in the video description as well. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok if you'd like. Powerful and Poised on Instagram, Powerful Poised on TikTok. And thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have it in your heart to leave a comment about what you felt, if it's positive, then please do so. But otherwise, I wish nothing more than for you to have received some benefit and some value from today's video. And if you have any tips for me about how to make my channel better, I'm all for it. Thank you.